morning, everybody. This is Jim Feist in Las Vegas. It's an exciting day. The Supreme Court has stepped up and said no more ban on sports betting, and New Jersey is ready to go. I'm on the line here with Hank Goldberg, and he knows a lot about this. Good morning, Hank.
Good morning, Jim. Yeah, it's a big day in New Jersey because they're going to have a press conference at 3 o'clock this afternoon, and Monmouth Park is ready to go and probably will start it. Will go in business within a week. I think that's what they'll announce, and I think that the people in charge there do not intend to give the league the kickback. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens with that. And I know that the NFL commissioner is pretty upset about that. So that'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Well, speaking of a kickback, I guess the league, everybody can sue everybody in this country, so the league could sue them to try to get a kickback, but Nevada has had...
They can't sue against the law they're going to pass.
Well, business is business, but Nevada doesn't give a kickback to the leagues.
Well, New Jersey, will structure it the way that, they've already passed their law, and they had nothing in there the way it was structured to give a percentage back to add to the vigorish. And this is something that the league was pushing for because they want to cut. And I think that was true with basketball too. But this will be an interesting battle to see what happens with that.
Yes, very interesting.
If they go through with adding to the percentage, then they might as well not even pass the law. People will still bet in Costa Rica.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that. It's going to shake out. It's going to take, for most places, it's going to take a couple years to shake this out. It's good that New Jersey is right on the verge of opening, and that's great because it starts the ball rolling. And once that happens, sort of like the marijuana thing, how it's cascading across the country. And Canada is in July going to pass, or it looks like they're going to pass a law that legalizes it throughout the entire country. Some of these bans on things that the people like are starting to fall, and that for me that's good news personally and business-wise. We got a big.
The report says that 32 states will offer betting within 5 years. But they have to go through legislation. New Jersey doesn't have to go through legislation. They have it, and the racetracks in New Jersey and the casinos in New Jersey are already in place to start.
That's exciting news, Hank. I'm very up on it. I've been hoping for this to happen for the last 20 years, and finally it happened. That's great news. Speaking of current sports issues, how was your weekend?
Very good. I had given out Boston yesterday on the service, and they came through. I didn't think it would be that easy, but that coach is something else. He came up with a defense that really handcuffed LeBron. Be curious to see how Cleveland responds on Tuesday. And I'm curious what's going on out there. There was something on the crawl this morning on ESPN that because I guess the people who own the Golden Nugget also own Houston, and they have to pay off on the conference because they will not accept bets on the Rockets. Is that correct?
You got me. I have not heard that. I was out of town for 4 days, but I've been catching up on everything, and I did not see that. I'm totally caught off guard with that one. I'll definitely dig
something
into
going on with that because the Petitas own Golden Nugget, own the Rockets, but I don't understand that because years ago, they stopped the ban on UNLV out there. Why would they not accept betting on the NBA West?
Well, that's just in the Golden Nugget?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, well, that would be because of the situation of the ownership. I think there was a problem with that when they the Maloofs owned Sacramento and they owned the Rio as well. It wasn't the Rio, it was the Palms, and there was an issue there as well, kind of along the same lines. If you own the casino and you own a professional team, or then there's some kind of an issue. It's different than the UNLV college issue.
I guess the gaming commission can do whatever they feel like doing out there.
Oh, absolutely. There's laws on the books that just like everywhere. There's laws that make sense, and there's a lot of them that don't make any sense. But there was reasons that they passed them at the time they passed them, and you look at it in hindsight, they don't make any sense anymore. But that it is the way it is. We do have a big game tonight. The Warriors are going to Houston. Now, Houston, there's a lot of word about how Harden has been the last couple games. Is he off his feed, so to speak, or was he just coasting or tired?
I think that Houston has a problem in that they have no structure to their offensive game. They just bring the ball up court and they shoot. They don't. No, guys don't break to the basket, and that's going to be a problem against Golden State, who I think will be able to defend them. And they defend the basket well, and they've got size around the basket, and they'll just force Houston into shooting threes. That's been their game. If they're hitting, they're fine, and if they're not hitting, they lose.
Well, that's
the way it goes for them.
They average hitting 15 threes a game, which is 45 points, which is enormous, the most in the league. The Warriors 11 threes per game average. But they're regular season stats, and they don't mean that much really, because
you know what means a lot. The eye test. Watch the way Golden State distributes the ball. They are very good at moving the ball around and getting open shots. And Houston is not. And that's why Harden's having a tough time.
Well, these are the two top-rated teams in basketball right now. The Warriors, of course, have the history. They got the coaching, and they got the players that have seasoned players and playing at the highest level and done well. Weeks ago, I predicted that the Warriors would win the West and win the championship, and I'm going to stick with that. On a game-by-game basis, that doesn't mean they're going to beat the Rockets 4 games in a row. There's going to be a game-by-game adjustment by coaches and players. So I'm going to take it that way and look at each game. But overall, in a 7-game series against whoever comes out of the East and against the Rockets, the Warriors are going to win. They're better, they're deeper, and they're well coached. Now the East Coast, I did not expect to see LeBron and company cave in like they did, especially in the second half. That was atrocious. But I guess they decided to save their energy for Game 2 because they thought Game 1 was probably lost at that point. They were probably right. Why spin your wheels in a game you've already blown? But they're going to come back in Game 2 with a much different effort than they had in Game 1. Yes, Morris did a great job, and Stevens is the coach of the year. He's the best coach in the league right now, especially dealing with so many injuries and changes and things. They have won. They're 8-0 in the playoffs at home. On the road, I'm talking about Boston. On the road, they've been a little bit suspect. They have not done that well on the road, but at home, they've been dynamite. Cleveland, of course, with LeBron, if he's able to get by this defensive scheme, they'll bounce back. But I don't know. Boston hasn't given it up at home yet.
Hey, they won yesterday when Tatum had an off day. He only had 8 points. But the other guys rose to the occasion. But their defense and what they created off their defense, typical Cleveland. I'm going to tell you something about Cleveland. If their role players don't come through, they get beat. And this has been happening to them all season long. I think Cleveland got lucky against Philadelphia, and that coach blew the series. Philadelphia was a better team than Cleveland, and the coach blew the series. This coach won't blow the series, and I think that Boston's going to win it.
Well, then if I'm right and you're right, it'll be Boston against the Warriors. That would be interesting. It's an interesting time. Hank's picks and mine are both up on the website. It's great. I mean, we got a lot of stuff going on in baseball as well, Hank, and of course we got the Vegas Knights. They're down 0-1. They're playing Winnipeg. That was an early scoring game. They had 6 points scored, 6 goals scored quickly, and then it ended up, at 6. So that was a little bit different. I think you'll see probably a little bit more defense on the Knights' part, and Winnipeg will have a tough time getting that many goals. However, they are favored. Winnipeg's tough at home. I'm not a hockey guy per se, but I do follow some people that are. Hank, you're one of them. What do you think?
Well, I liked Washington a lot in the other series, and I gave that out on our service last week. So far, so good there. I said that the Sharks were the best team out west. We'll see how far they can go. But I want to talk about the Preakness for a moment. The draw is on Wednesday. I said that I didn't think Bolt Oro should run in the Preakness, and I made a big issue about it on my CBS service, and I said that they mismanaged that horse something terribly, and now they decided they're not going to run him in the Preakness. They're going to run him in the Met Mile. I think they should take that horse home and let him rest. He's a tired horse right now. But I was right, and I was the only guy who came out and said that he should not run in the Preakness. And sure enough, they decided not to run him, and it was the partners who convinced Ruiz, the trainer and part owner, not to run him. And at least they're going to hold him off. It's supposed to rain in Baltimore this week, and if it does, Chad Brown's horse likes the off-going, and it could be interesting, but Justify likes it off, too. I am going to talk to Wayne Lucas tomorrow about his 2 horses. He's got 2 in there. His Derby horse ran pretty well. The horse that didn't run in the Derby won the Hopeful last year at Saratoga, and this is a horse to keep an eye on, and he's going to be a price. The Preakness always produces a price horse. I'm going to do a lot of work on it tomorrow and see if I can come up with one, but I think Justify, Baffert says that Justify is better than the American Pharaoh was. That's quite a statement.
That's a hell of a statement. I tell you what, I was very impressed with Justify. Good Magic also was very good in the mud down in Kentucky. So that would be another great matchup there if that happens. Baseball. Atlanta right now is smoking, playing absolutely fantastic baseball away from home, ironically. They don't play well at home.
Well, they were playing in Miami.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true, but they have done very well on the road this year. The Astros pitching staff has really shut down the defense. They haven't given up more than 1 or 2 runs, I think, in the last 6 games, which is very strong. They got McCullers going today. They're on the road.
Well, they got an interesting series. They're going to be facing the Angels, who have some pretty good pitching going for them. That's going to be a good series. I'm curious to watch that.
It's going to be a very good series. You've got a good pitching matchup today. Not a lot of guys.
Yeah, the Angels are hot too, so that should be a nice series to watch.
Yes, it will. Of course, the Yankees are bombing it. They've been very strong the last month. They have one stretch there. What it was, 16 out of 17. It was pretty incredible. Stanton's starting to hit the ball. They're a very dangerous team. Their pitching, if their pitching holds up, they're going to be very tough to beat going forward. Any other sleepers out there in baseball you've seen, Hank?
Sleepers, I'll tell you, the Yankees have got so much hitting right now, and now that Giancarlo has started to hit the ball, that they've got power up and down their lineup. And I think they're going to be tough to beat. Red Sox, of course, are good. That's going to be a good race right down to the end. Outside of that, I don't know. The Kansas City's starting to play a little better. I don't know how far that can go, but they started to win some games. I didn't think they were as bad as they started out to be, but the Cubs have been a big disappointment so far. Very tough to rely on them right now. And Cleveland's been up and down. You know, nobody's really emerging in the Midwest yet. So the Cardinals have been a disappointment. But they've had guys hurt. The three top players have been not playing. So
yeah, and Wainwright might go back on the DL again. Another injury. And Robinson Cano for since Seattle broke his finger or hand yesterday, and he's going to be out for a long time. Yep.
And the Dodgers, of course, are in big trouble. So
the Dodgers are definitely not the Dodgers of 2017. That's for sure. It's been an interesting start to the baseball season, going quite well. The NBA, I'm excited. Of course, you are as well for these finals in the East and the West. We've got a lot of great stuff, and this Supreme Court decision is going to change a lot down the road. But like you said, over the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you're going to see quite a few venues opening up in the United States for sports betting. It's a good time to be in the business, and it's a good time to be a sports bettor and fan. So I'm excited about it, and I know you are, Hank. Hank, we'll talk again on Wednesday. All of our plays are up at HankJim051418. Go there and get them right now. And of course, the Preakness this weekend. We'll talk on Wednesday and update everything then, Hank. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Hang on, Jim.
Okay.